Welcome to DC. You know we're down at the USA Cup. You're taking it slightly, I'm taking it slightly. Now how you throw at them, you won't be right back. Well, we gon' be right here, we gon' be right here. We ain't going nowhere. Welcome to DC.
Welcome back to Owning the Huddle podcast. We got DT, we got CeeLo, and I am Deuce. What's good, fellas?
What's going on?
It's been good, man. So look, man. So we having this conversation prior to the show. We said, you know what? We just gonna bring it here. Why do we keep picking up quarterbacks, undrafted quarterbacks? That's just trash. We got Nate Sudfeld. He was terrible. I seen him in training camp. He can't hit wide open receivers in the wide receiver drills. He was bad, right? Then we get the guy. What's his name? I don't forgot his name. Just that fast. The guy Steven Montez, right?
Steven Montez.
So we go down with COVID a couple years ago. Everyone is down. They have to bring in Gilbert because they got this Montez dude that's when they thought about bringing him in, you should have saw his face. He looked terrible. His face was so afraid to come in the game because he knew he wasn't ready, bro. They rather put somebody out there that had half a leg before they put out this guy. Why do we keep going? Why are we not drafting 6th round quarterbacks, 7th round quarterbacks? The highly touted undrafted guys. Why do we keep drafting bums to be able to show up just for a camp on? Why they just can't be somebody that we can possibly build? There's no way those two guys is there for us to help us build. What you think, DT?
Man, if only I had the answer, dude. I don't know, man. History just shows that we favor the little guys. Well, ain't nothing wrong with favoring little guys, but sometimes you CeeLo always say in the chat, man, I need a dog. And we always try to get these chihuahuas. They a little scary, but you can throw them in the toilet anytime you want to. So I don't know, man.
CeeLo, we couldn't get a quarterback in 21, man.
Bro, I don't understand. So we go out and we go get Ryan Fitzpatrick because we can't get Matthew Stafford, which I understand, and then I have to believe Fitzpatrick was always no one's bidding for Fitzpatrick's, services. So we went out and we probably just said, yo, I'm gonna pay you $10 million, which is what he got paid for 1 year. How do you not go into the offseason, into the draft with a plan of, okay, we got Stafford, we got this holdover that we saw play 1.5 games in Heineke, not bad. Let's go. How about let's just go and take a flyer? We don't even take a flyer. We pass over Davis Mills. We pass over all these guys that's still playing in the league today. I'm not saying they're great, but they in the league actually playing quality football. You know what we end up doing? We end up training up for a long snapper. We traded up for a long snapper, bro. Seriously? Who drafts long snappers? Who? We do. You get long snappers everywhere. What are you talking about? And then he sucked. Yo, he sucked. Y'all remember that? He was hiking up joints over somebody's head. Yo, he was not very good. It took some games. I'm like, bro.
Jones coming back slow.
Bro. Remember that? Y'all remember that? The timing was off. We was missing kicks.
In the preseason.
Preseason. It was bad. The whole system was messed up because we wanted to get rid of Ethan, Albright, whatever he was, and go get cheaper, man, please. So yeah, we're gonna keep Steven Montez and them. That's what I call them. Steven Montez and them.
Welcome to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, where we discuss all things Washington Commanders, from the executive and front offices, coaches, players, and fan experience. Join DT, Breeze, CeeLo, and Deuce as they break down the pre- and post games. Do it because you love it and not because it loves you. Hail Commanders!
All right, welcome back to On the Huddle podcast. We just had to throw that in there. So let's get into let's talk about let's go back. Let's talk about the Pro Bowl, right? The Pro Bowl was this weekend. How did you all watch the Pro Bowl? Did you all enjoy the Pro Bowl? I mean, I ain't really watch. I just saw some stuff online, man, and saw some clips. What about you, DT?
Yeah, I was kind of the same. I kind of kept up with the clips, things like that. I would pop in, a little bit. Pops was watching it, back and forth, things like that. From what I saw, I mean, I get a lot of people mixed about it and things like that. They so used to the old format, but I think it was kind of exciting. Some of the stuff they were doing, um, little mini games, things like that. It brings some excitement, but it's just not the same. I don't think people are going to be excited no more about like even Pro Bowl voting and things like that because guys get snubbed or guys don't get an opportunity to go out there. It's basically like a elongated vacation. So uh, I didn't even try to focus thing on it. I'm glad that our players got an opportunity to show out for Washington and Major Tuddy.
Yeah, Major Tuddy got his man this weekend, man. Like he was all over the place, man. He was all over the place, man. Um, has Major Tuddy grown on you at all, CeeLo?
No, no. I mean, I mean, I'm not mad at Major Tuddy, but it's just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad he went to the bowl and represented us. I hopefully represented as well. Um, it's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird. I told people. I think I told somebody on the chat. He reminds me of Elmer Fudd. I'm showing my age, but it's like this dude that walks around with this southern drawl, with a shotgun in his hand because he just kind of looks odd. But I don't, if the kids love him, I love him. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. Hey, but my only takeaway from the Pro Bowl was I think I mentioned it before. It doesn't show well on TV if that makes sense. Like they had a couple of like drills they were doing or competitions they were doing that were more like they had this receiver drill where you had
Mm-hmm.
Diggs going against Amon Brown. I didn't and I had it on mute. I saw it on the TV, but I had it on mute, so I wasn't listening. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's a lot of chaos. You had Diggs behind the cheerleaders doing something. Then you
That was
had
that
Vic
was yeah, that was weird.
then you had the Vic throwing, getting ready to throw, and then he had I think he had somebody else going to throw it. It just doesn't show well on TV. Maybe it's better in person, but then I saw the zoomed out and they showed the whole stadium. That stadium was filled, like almost filled.
They
So
say tickets was like $79, the cheapest ones.
well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad they didn't try to like, completely, you know,
Yeah,
do,
they should
whatever.
have give
So
them
yeah,
out. They should have give them out for the
I
youth.
think I think they should too because they're not hitting, they're not playing football. They just out there messing around. So that's all.
Yeah, man. So let's get into us. Um, Offensive coordinator search. It seems like there were some reports that Eric Bieniemy is also has mutual interest with coming here. There hasn't been an interview yet. What are your thoughts on that, DT?
I think it's for us to me. I think it's very surprising news to hear that there is some type of interest between both parties. Um, this is the guy I truly believe everybody's on board on to get. If it's not Thomas Brown, it's going to be Eric Bieniemy, and we know his history with Kansas City. We had conversations in Twitter Spaces with Kansas City fans, and they gave us their overview on Bieniemy. He developed their running game, running backs like Jamal Charles, Kareem Hunt, Spencer Ware, like those guys, to name a few, and just looking at what he can bring, and not only just to bring to us, but he has the opportunity to get out of that shadow of Andy Reid. The whole play calling debate and things like that. I think he can finally get that monkey off his back, coming to DC with pretty much set at wide receivers and running backs, you just gotta get the offensive line right and see what you want to do at the tight end position. Either you develop those young guys or you try to find your own Travis Kelsey, which is, not saying we're going to find Travis Kelsey, but somebody that can, replicate that type of production and develop Sam Howell. I think that's one of the biggest things we're looking at when we talk about Airbnb.
Yeah, that's the same for me. He's always been my choice ever since Scott Turner's been fired. I'm to the point now where I'm like, it has to be. I'm going to interview all these people. We're going to cast out this great net of people. I mean, we did the Anthony Lynn thing last week. Still hasn't been an announcement yet. So hopefully after the Super Bowl, we have an announcement. We have an OC in here because my whole thing is, we all know about how Rivera looks at Andy Reid, and we know about the stuff that goes on in these NFL coaches circles. I'm quite sure it was some type of conversation had, but behind closed doors. But if we don't get Bieniemy, I think I'm to the point where I would be so disappointed, especially if it's Zampese. Like I would be so disappointed. Where will you be, CeeLo?
Yeah, I hear you. I think Bieniemy is first class. That'll make this a successful search. I look forward. I really want to see Bieniemy. I personally want to see Bieniemy on his own, because if he comes here, he's going to be on his own. He's going to have full responsibility of the offense, and there won't be any doubt about his abilities. There shouldn't be today, but there won't be tomorrow if he's able to get this job, because the way that Ron seems to operate is he seems to be very much like a CEO, and let offense be offense. Let Jack do his thing, and I feel like if Bieniemy comes here, he's going to have full total control, and he's going to probably, I'm guessing with some parameters, right? This is your quarterback or whatever, and I look forward to seeing that, and I think he's proven to be an exceptional, if not class, top of the class type OC. We would be lucky to have him, man. My only thing about, I'm being realistic now. So the only thing about that though is if you're Eric, is this a job that speaks to you, or do you really get intrigued by, you take Dallas off the table now because they have an OC. So do you get intrigued by Lamar and that Ravens organization? It's interesting because Lamar is special, right? And I know that people are saying if you go from Mahomes to Lamar, what is that really saying? Well, it's basically saying you guys know that Harbaugh isn't an offensive guy; he's a special teams guy.
Yeah.
So you will also have total control of that offense. So if you have a guy like Lamar and you take that kind of talent to the next level, that's also intriguing to be and just being objective. And they're going to continue to draft. I know they have other issues. I'm not saying that they're perfect by any stretch, but it is intriguing. If he has options like that, I keep going back to that dude. So I'm like, he's going to have options. If he's smart, he's going to go take his time and then so I want to know how we stack up against those other options. And it's probably things that we don't even know about, right? Inside stuff, potential in the future, all this other stuff that we just don't know. And that's the part I think about, the unknown.
Yeah, that's the thing. The only job that I'm kind of afraid of is if all of a sudden Lamar come out here tomorrow and be like, yeah, I'm signing back, or he's accepted a deal. I'm like, yeah, Bieniemy ain't coming in. Like, because it's been reports that it's us two. It's either the Ravens or us. So he also could be waiting out not only for the Super Bowl, but he could be waiting out to see. Let me see what they're gonna do with Lamar. Let me give them another week.
Right.
Maybe they because in the beginning, Harbaugh did mention that Lamar was in on the OC search or whatever.
Right.
So maybe Lamar and Bieniemy talked or something like. So that's the only thing that I'd be like, okay, Commanders, I get it. Like I would choose Lamar too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
don't forget, I would understand.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, Harbaugh's in that Andy Reid tree as well. So,
yeah, that's true.
Good point.
Another factor to think about. And when we're talking about OC jobs and things like that, one thing we don't know. They probably say this, but I know it's in the back of their head. Who's the quarterback over there? And if he's going from Patrick Mahomes, knowing that if he's going from Patrick Mahomes, knowing that Lamar Jackson, that we all say he's in that, that top five ish of when it comes to like those quarterbacks that are elite. That to me, that's an easy transition. Like only a fool wouldn't even take a thing like that. But if you want to take somebody that's young, that had first round traits, but things like didn't go away like in Sam Howell, and you make him look like a top 12, 15 quarterback, that's just gonna make your resume even more crazier.
And you can't,
Right.
and it's not Sam Howell that's going to bring the enemy here, right? Because if you look at
Right.
Sam Howell and Huntley, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not,
Yeah,
that's, you think about it, that's not going to be it. But what it
Right.
is it's Terry, it's Jahan, it's Gibby, it's Sam. It's those weapons that we have that's
And
going to
defense.
bring them here, and having the defense. So, but if Lamar come in the picture, none of that other stuff matters. All right,
man.
so talking about the defense, right? We have a couple people, a few players that's coming up on contract, whether it is we need to sign them right now because they unrestricted, or because we should extend them. We're only gonna go through a couple right now for this show, because later on in the all season we're gonna break down like all of our free agents. Oh, let's give us the point on where we want to go. But let's do Cole Holcomb, Payne, of course, Curl, and Sweat. So let's start with Cole Holcomb. I think Cole Holcomb possibly bet on himself. I don't know if they went to him or not, but if they did, and he said, "Nah, I'm just going to wait," I wouldn't fault him for it, especially for him getting the green dot. Him think he could get better. I think middle linebackers get paid more than weak side linebackers. I'm not entirely sure though, but if he did better than himself, he lost. I mean, he lost big time with that energy. Is that someone that you will want to bring back, CeeLo? And are you bringing him back as a starter or as a depth piece?
I think, being, what was he, a fifth, sixth round pick? Something along those lines. I think he went, was it North Carolina? Is he a North Carolina guy?
Yeah.
He
I think
went to
he's a North Carolina
UNC.
guy. I know where he went to high school out there in just north of Titusville, Florida. So a lot of guys come out of there, solid dude, smart dude, faster than what he looks. I would definitely bring him back, but I would bring him back for competition. I would. I'm a big believer in competing in all these positions, man. And so if I'm signing him to a contract, I'm gonna give him a very competitive contract. Maybe right at probably a little below market value given his circumstances, because that's just the business that we're in. And I would bring him back, but I would go in the draft look for guys. I would go in free agency looking for guys. I would bring in the best MLB I can find to compete with him, and I'll let him know that. I'll be saying, listen, I'm willing to bring you back, but nothing's guaranteed for your final 53. And we're gonna let may the best man win, just given the circumstances that we're in. But I think he have a good chance of making the 53. It's just a matter of what price tag he's always willing to agree to with those terms. So no, I wouldn't give him a starting MLB type contract. I would probably give him more of a competitive type contract until we settle on that piece in the off season. I think he can go. I think that's an upgrade. I mean, I really think we can do better there. And that's what that is. Nothing against Cole. I just think we can do better there. And if we want to be the elite defense we keep talking about, you got to figure out that piece. Is that Jamin Davis? Do you see him as a middle linebacker, or do you see him as more of a weak side? So I don't know. I don't know.
What about you, DT? Because the thing about Cole Holcomb is he gets a lot of tackles, right? But they're not impact tackles. I mean, let's be for real. I know you Cole Holcomb fans out there think he's this tackling machine. Most of those tackles is probably like second level and him getting there late, or he, grabbing a guy by his ankles or something like that. He's not coming up making no impact tackles. So where do you view Holcomb, and what would be your plans going into the offseason?
So where I view Holcomb is, he is a guy on this defense. We have been struggling at the linebacker position for probably about way longer, even the Ron Rivera regime, and he's been a solid starter when he gets the opportunity to play and things like that. But I I think the biggest fear probably for him is if he tries to bet on himself and he goes to a team and they would try to consider him as a spot starter more than like an actual starting linebacker, like a guy that could be a death piece and come in when somebody's injured, things like that. Are you willing to go out and be a backup, or do you want to wait on a deal, see how the market marinates for the top linebackers and things like that, and just return to Washington? Now, if he returns to Washington, I think it'll be good for us. And I'm like, CeeLo, I would bring some competition if you can bring some competition, because I think that linebacker room has been a weakness. But I also seen that the past couple of games down the stretch, we kind of did need a Holcomb in terms of the run defense, especially when you only had Jamin and you were missing a guy like Cam Curl on that defense. So if it was me, I wouldn't be sweating if we don't resign him. I think it'll be okay if we sign him, but I know deep down that that linebacker position can be totally improved. It's going to be a guy in free agency that has some type of athleticism that Ron and Jack Del Rio would like to see in that spot, the matchup with Jamin Davis and Kiki Hudson.
Yeah, man. I think we need, like you all said, bring in some competition for those spots. We might need to see like 2, 3 new linebackers in here. I ain't talking about no cat baddies. I'm talking about somebody that actually can compete for these starting jobs, man. That's if we're gonna build this team up, we need people. We need some good depth pieces that are gonna push these guys. All right, Deron Payne. For me, it's a lot. I think my number is 22 and a half. But I think we have to get this deal done before Keenan Williams, before Dexter Lawrence, and before Chris Jones. I know Chris Jones is probably going to get around 26. I think Donald is at 31 and a half. No one is going to get close to that this offseason. So the main people I'm really focusing on is Keenan Williams and Dexter Lawrence. And Dexter Lawrence is an extension too. So we have to get those deals done for those guys because that could definitely push the number up. So where you at with Payne, CeeLo?
Yeah, you summed it up really well. How old are those other guys? Because I think what is Payne, like 25?
25. He's
What's that?
25. He's
25.
25.
Yeah, I
So
think Dexter Lawrence is right around. And I mean, and Keenan Williams, they came out the same draft, didn't they? Or was it one
okay,
draft later for Williams?
Think
Or was it the
Will came
same
out
draft?
2019.
Or he came out with Payne?
No, I think it
I
was
mean,
Payne.
I mean, it came out with
Alan.
Allen. Because when was Allen? 18, I think.
Allen was 17, Payne was 18.
17.
Okay, right.
Yeah. And Quentin Williams was
Yeah,
2019.
Yeah. So
he's a little younger. Okay, or at least younger in terms of playing. So yeah, I'm right around there with you. To me, it's going to be about the guarantees. I know we all talk about the AAV number because it's easy to reference and compare. I think that because of his age, I would aim for a 3 or 4 year deal, and entice him with that because that means he can go and cash in on himself again when there's a much higher salary cap ceiling and revenues, sharing is going to be up higher, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I would offer him a 3 or 4 year deal. Something like 35, 36, maybe 37 million, signing bonus, and let him roll. I think that's a very competitive. Actually, that's a above market value type deal. And I think that's what it's going to come down to is the guarantees. I think if we can entice him with the guarantees similar, if not more than the John Allen got, he will be all over that. So he's proven himself. I'm always skeptical of these guys that go off when it's on a contract year, but I feel like the D tackle position is such a underrated but important position now in this day and age where getting the pressure up the middle in front of a quarterback's face is so important. That's exactly what Deron Payne does every day. He does it very well. He just finally got home this year, and I feel like he was kind of right there these last 3 years. So yeah. Anyway, I think Deron Payne I would love to bring him back. But I'm not going crazy. I'm not giving him Aaron Donald money. I'm not giving him. I'm just not. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's kind of where I am with it.
where you at with Payne, DT? Do you think we can. What do you think this fan base is going to do if we let Payne walk? And what's your feelings on keeping Payne
And he goes to the
versus letting him go?
Giants.
And he goes,
I think for how funny, man. I think
Caleb,
for Deshaun
Caleb would be upset.
I don't think Caleb will make it.
well, I think for Deron Payne, I think the biggest thing is about the money. Like, because when we look at John Allen, I think we can all consensually say that John Allen is arguably top 3 or top 5 defensive tackles in the NFL with Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, and them. Now, where does Deron Payne rank in those tiers? Is he second tier? I think you can make that argument, but where is he at in the second tier? You got guys like Jeffrey Simmons and guys like that. So the the guarantees are going to be the biggest thing I'm gonna watch out for when that contract conversation starts because obviously I think he's going to have to be paid a little bit more than John Allen if you're trying to keep him, but it will be like a deal that you're trying to see. Okay, we'll give you like 3 to 4 years, and if you want to bet on yourself again, we have absolutely no problem. But also understand that we have guys behind us that we drafted and nobody wanted to. I get it. Like they had for Darian Mathis and things like that. It was like, oh my God, this is replacement. Things like, okay, it possibly is, but we also lost 2 defensive tackles, and you also signed undrafted guy John Ridgway. So your
Mhm.
defensive line is really stacked. So I don't think Fedarian and Ridgway are Deron Payne, but I do feel like in some type of way um, it won't be such a drastic loss if we decide not to sign him and things like that. But overall, man, I think this guy deserves the money for what he did this year. He got his sack money. Um, I saw the potential in him for a while now. I always keep saying it, man. Like he had that K1 short quickness when it comes to getting to the quarterback. He finally used it and got to the quarterback.
Yeah, and he plays like the most out of almost any D tackle in the league. He's like top 4 in percentage of snaps that he plays. He's something like in the 93, 94%. I mean, that's crazy for a 310-pound dude on a defensive tackle side. That's uncommon. Most of those guys rotate a lot, in rundowns or in certain downs and distances. This dude plays all 3 downs. So
It's crazy.
that's the part, and he's healthy. Knock on wood, he's healthy. Could you? John Allen's missed a few games. He missed a lot of games his rookie year. He's missed kind of games here and there throughout his. Like Deron Payne is healthy, bro.
Hmm.
That's the crazy part.
And those dudes played major snaps this year. Like at some
Big
point,
time,
some games they was playing like 96% of the snaps.
big time.
A lot of the games. So yeah, man, it takes a toll. But that's the thing with Sweat, man. All of a sudden, he might start getting home next year. So that's what we're gonna come back with. We're gonna come back with Sweat and with Cam Curl because with a Sweat, all of a sudden out of nowhere started getting home and he produced 11 and a half sacks. If we don't want to sign him, but right after this break, we're gonna come back. We're gonna discuss Curl and Sweat, and also Ron Rivera in Pebble Beach last week. And is the NFL really scripted? Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
There's a lot of bad stigma about shopping for a used car. Well, come visit us at iCargo Motors. We'll take care of you. We'll ensure that your experience is not only seamless and efficient, but also satisfying. Because at iCargo Motors, we believe that the best form of currency is integrity.
All right, so let's talk about Montez Sweat. Do you try to extend him this year? With production, you're not gonna pay him no elite pass rusher. You're gonna go to him with production. Like this is what we believe that you're worth. Give him a number. He might give a number back. You see if you can get to it, work through it. If not, if it happens like that, he say no, I want to bet on myself. DT, do you trade Sweat or do you just let him play on this contract?
This is interesting, right? So when we're talking about Montez Sweat, We talk about Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Those two guys, extremely talented players, right? And we know Chase Young was selected at the number 2 overall spot. But there's been a lot of conversation about trading Chase Young, but nobody brings up that it's a possibility we might trade Montez Sweat. And I think this is me. I'm not trying to be that type of guy right now. I think my fear is we have probably reached the ceiling with Montez Sweat because it's been 3 years, and a lot of people will say in 3 years you see a player, things like that. Now I could say the outlier probably for like
It's 4 years.
4 years. It'll be
Yeah,
4 years.
the fifth year is next year.
Yeah. So I mean, young talented player, but he hasn't really had like the 12 sacks and things like that that we wanted to see. You know, I'm not really crazy about like the sacks and things. I care more about like the impact that you're wrecking the game. The sacks will eventually come, but when we're talking about Montez Sweat for right now, um, I hate to say it, bro, but if they don't feel like putting that tag on, I will entertain a trade because I think we have seen from at least the interior that they are able to get production outside of the starting defensive lineman. Now the question is, can you get production from the defensive end position?
What about you, CeeLo? Would you be the one to trade Sweat?
So I was just looking up something about his stats, and about how how often is he double teamed? How often do teams game plan for Sweat? And I don't have the details, but I have to believe that he's not a focal point in most offensive coordinators and how they execute. Maybe he is in some cases. I don't know. But so the thing about this team is they have to have a plan, right? And they have to know these guys in and out. And we talked about Payne just now. I am of the opinion that they were ready to move on from Payne. I think that they were, and I'm not saying Philandus Mathis was a one-to-one replacement. I just think they were preparing and continuing to build that defensive line because that's a focus point in the Ron Rivera / Jack Del Rio defensive scheme in that 4-3. So they really believe in that front seven, and they would just want to continue to add to that, just like DT said about losing Ioannidis and crew. So that's what they're doing. Just in case it doesn't work out in terms of negotiations, they have to continue to build and continue to not miss a beat, which is why I'm saying don't be surprised if they go DN in this draft kind of high. Don't be surprised. My issue with the team is they get to the last freaking point to negotiate. Like some of these guys, you got to start negotiating with before it gets to this last year situation. You got to be to a point where, hey, this is a guy that I like. I want to lock him up because I know he's going to get there, and that potential is crazy. So I'm going to lock him up now, maybe get him in a little bit more reasonable price, contract detail, and let's go. And you have to worry about this conversation. But every guy that I can think of, Terry and John Allen, all these guys have always waited to almost the last year before things needed to happen. And I just hope, I would like for them to make one move or another with Sweat because the market for defensive ends is outrageous compared to defensive tackles, right? I mean, imagine if he were to get 18 sacks.
Oh my God.
I mean, great for us in terms of production, but you're done. So you got to kind of. I'm hoping that they're looking at that. Look, I'm talking like literally looking at the film. Like, yo, Sweat. If he works on this one move, something like that, he's gonna get there. Or man, Sweat ain't got it. He just ain't got it. And they make that decision. Like that's what I'm hoping for, and that differentiates average front offices to great front offices.
Yep.
Great front offices will see that and will make a move. I'm trading them for picks. I'm trading them for players. I'm moving on from the guy. I know he's popular, but it's business, blah, 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 blah. Yo, average teams, they hold on to guys. They don't want to lose them. They want to keep every guy. And you can't do that when you're trying to build a roster that used to be 3 wins, right? 3-13. So that's what I just want to say that, like in general, like all this stuff, I like these guys, man. But I want a guy in that front office, whether it's Ron, whether it's Martin, that can really see through all the BS and look at the details and make a bold decision.
Yeah, it sounded like you said 3 and Wentz. Like 3. We went 3 and Wentz this past.
Oh, that's real
We
nasty.
went 3 and Wentz. All right, DT. Ron Rivera, they taking pictures of Ron Rivera playing golf in Pebble Beach. The fan base goes crazy because what he had, 20-something people? No, 19 people at the Senior Bowl practices, but he wasn't there. And how did you like when you first saw that? What was the first thing that came to your mind?
First thing came to mind, said I don't care. I mean, I really don't, because I think obviously this dude has a life outside of football. I mean, football is his job, but these guys can get a little break. These guys can go out here and golf. I mean, it's on national TV, but I mean, you can golf, you can have fun with your friends, things like that. His father lives in California, and this man literally lost his mother this year. So I would at least expect him to go and spend time with your family, folks. Like, this is a message from DT. Spend time with your family because you never know when they're gone and
That's
things
true.
like that. That's the truest message. Always cherish your memories, and that's what Ron was doing. He's cherishing a good time with his father, and he lost his mother, things like that. I wasn't tripping about him golfing and things like that. The man was doing his job. The man interviewed what's the guy? Anthony Lynn,
Anthony
who
Lynn.
was in California. So as long as he's doing his job, man, I'm good. Now when it comes on game day, we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna have a problem. He messing up on fourth down and stuff like that. We're gonna have a problem. We're gonna be doing the podcast a lot.
Nah, they're gonna be like he should have been at the Senior Bowl. That's why he messed up because he's out there golfing.
What they got
But
to do with the game?
okay, but that was my thing, CeeLo. It was like yeah. I mean, one thing that most people can agree with is they've been successful in the draft. You know what I mean? Like they've been successful in the draft. So now, if they had like a player, a pro player that's been in the league type of. Remember they used to do that. They used to have that combine. Was the combine for like the older players or something?
Yep.
A little vet
Yep.
combine or whatever.
Yep.
And if they have like a free agent combine, then he definitely need to be there because they ain't been hitting on free agent players.
That's a great idea, actually. Maybe we need to think about that.
But for me, man, I was like, man, look, I mean, he could take a break, man. Those guys been working. Those guys been doing a good job these last couple of years. Since they've been on the job full time. But what was your initial thought, CeeLo?
My initial thought was just like you guys. I was like, I don't care. It's the Senior Bowl. They got a whole like 24 people down there close to it, so I didn't care. But I was, I mentioned it before, in the chats, and I was kind of getting folks riled up. I understand the criticism. We 3 years in, we've been mid. We've been the definition of mid, like literally right in the middle. And so, I think there's a feeling that you need to be doing everything you can to get this, to improve this football team. And being at the Senior Bowl doesn't necessarily mean you're evaluating talent. I mean, it can be opportunity to talk with agents. It can be opportunity to talk with other teams. It can be opportunity to do a whole lot of business that's not directly related to the Senior Bowl. And I think that's what I was coming from, and other media people that were poo-pooing this whole thing like it was the end of the world. That's where I'm coming from. Like, do something different. Like, you have been doing the same thing for almost 3 years. You went all in last year, didn't work out. So just make sure you turn it over every leaf, every leaf. And so that's all. And, so as long as they're doing that, man, I'm fine. Yeah, I agree though. The drafts have been fantastic. So I'm not going to complain about the draft. They've been knocking it out of the park, in my opinion, and all these, in the last 2 drafts for sure.
And one thing that we did take out of this that was serious and good to know is that we know who's going to make this offensive coordinator choice, right? It's not going to be Hurney and it's not going to be Mayhew. It's going to be Martin. Like his VP role, I'm always looking at him having 2 roles as the VP or the president, whatever he is, over top of Martin and them. He's the one that's going to make this choice for offensive coordinator.
Coach centric. That's what I'm talking about.
Doc hates Coach centric.
Me and Doc on the same page there.
All right, so DT, this not about us, it's about the scripted NFL. Like I don't know who's doing the Commander script, but they need to be fired because they've been doing a bad job since 92 possibly. So it's been a bad script for us. But my cousin, like, he's one of those guys, right? He really is, and he won't fully admit it, but he always talking about, yeah, all right. So we'll get the Tampa Bay game against Dallas, right? Because he says this dude on YouTube, he keeps sending me the link. Yeah, check him out, check him out. I'm not watching that, because these dudes can be very convincing that it's a conspiracy, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching. But he kept texting me, watch Tom Brady come back and win by 2 points. Watch Tom Brady come back and win by 2 points. Because, may have missed like, what, 5 or 6 straight field goals or whatever? Mm-hmm. So, man, but we with the scripts, DT.
Man, if the NFL scripted, I feel like they did Washington dirty. Like, we've been in this script for like every single year. I think we need a new script writer. I think we need to get out of this ownership situation. I think we need to find a quarterback. I think we need to have more than 8 to 7 wins a season. I think that's it. But this whole conversation about the NFL being scripted, man, like, okay, so I'll tell you a funny story, man. My dad, he be like, man, this game be scripted, man. Ain't no way in the world going on like this. Scripted, man. There's money behind this, especially Cowboy games. We always say this for every Cowboy game. Look, he said, look at that Cowboy refs. Look at that.
Cowboy refs. It's crazy.
Star on themselves, man. I don't know, but I do feel like sometimes some games just be like, come on, bro. Like this feels weird a little bit. Like, y'all seen the tweet where it's like they had the Eagles and the Chiefs score already? They saying the elite.
Yeah, it was like 37-34.
If I see that happen, bro, I just feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this podcast no more, bro. Like, real talk.
Yeah.
How about something that's fake?
It's the new WWE.
Yep.
Right, bro.
Attitude error. Where you at with the scripts? Because they got scripts for everything now, especially on like Bleacher Report. Facebook be posting all types of crazy stuff, man.
Man, yeah, I done lost track of everything, man. These scripting joints is hilarious. These memes. Hey, if they script in Washington bad, I would hate to be Detroit.
Yeah.
The Jets. I mean, there's some bad teams out there, bro. That's like really, really. It's not even fair. So, and who's our scriptwriter in 2012? Like, who was that guy? Because he was on that. He
posted something too about 2012, didn't he?
Did he say something?
Yeah, he got one of them jumps.
Oh, now I don't think so. The reason why we got some. Hey, do you think people would be quiet about something like that? I mean, you really think all these dudes that's been a part of this been told, like Andrew and Foster said, oh yeah, I was just told to do this or that and the other. Man, you think all these dudes gonna stay quiet about that? Oh, heck no. That would have been, man, come on, y'all. I mean, it don't even matter. NDAs, throw them out the window. Guys like to talk.
Yep.
So that's not something that's just not gonna happen.
Everybody got a podcast now too. It's going.
Oh man. What you talk about?
Even Arian Foster, he was actually in a bit, and there's more to it, and he was actually just trolling. And he looked like he was trolling. He looked like he was trolling. I mean, he was always kind of a different dude too. So that's the one dude you like. I don't know. It's crazy talk.
If Tom Brady came out there, that'd be a different story.
Oh yeah, they said Tom Brady when AB took that underwear commercial, the picture.
Oh.
They said he done retired and became AB. But what if AB was in there with him and they both was like that?
Oh, would have been hilarious.
That would have been a crazy troll. Yeah. All right, man. So we're not going to be back this week, obviously, because I don't think they're going to make an OC choice. But if they do, we might stop in just for a little bit to talk about that. So Pro Bowl predictions. For me, we understand the impact, the history. That's
Super Bowl. You mean Super Bowl? Super Bowl.
What I say?
Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl. Super Bowl. Super Bowl. We all understand the impact of the history that's going to be made with two starting black quarterbacks. And I'm definitely going to take that in the first couple minutes of the game. And then after that, it's all Chiefs for me. I don't want the Eagles to win because and all my Eagle fans out there that know me outside, in my personal life, like y'all cool. Y'all ain't that bad to deal with. You know what I mean? But the Eagle fans on Twitter, oh my gosh, they are horrible people. They're terrible people. I just want them to lose. I want them to get smacked so bad. So for me, it is the Chiefs. What about you, DT?
I had to think about it for like a couple of days now. Like, I legit had to think about this, man, because it's like I look at the Chiefs and I look at the Eagles. In my opinion, the Eagles have the better team, but they got Patrick Mahomes. But the last time Jalen Hurts played the Chiefs, that was one of his best games. And they don't even have the same amount of wide receivers and talent they got right now. So I'm not going to be shocked if this be a shootout, probably in the third quarter. But Mahomes is different, man. I got to take Patrick Mahomes. But I think Jalen Hurts is going to show the NFL that he can be a starting quarterback.
He paying for that $50 million. That's what he about to be playing for. If they ain't thinking about giving it to him right now, CeeLo, where you at, man?
What was Hurts? Was he a 2019 guy?
2020.
Yes. Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
2020. Okay.
Yeah. So this is his third year. So
okay, got it.
Next year is his fourth year.
But
he was drafted in the second round, so he don't get the fifth year. Obviously.
Yeah, he ain't got the fifth year. Yeah. That's gonna be another topic we got to talk about. Jalen Hurts, because that's a lot of energy behind him, and a lot of opinions. So Philadelphia is favored by 1.5 points, and the over under is 50. So Vegas thinks it's gonna be a total of 50 points, give or take. So both these defenses are so Philly. I think Philly has a better defense. They have a better front, like front seven. They can put some serious pressure on you. And I just felt like Kansas City's offensive line has been okay, but when they're going against some strong defenses, they kind of fold a little bit. And you still have Pat Mahomes not quite healthy, right? Like let's be honest. Like he still is dealing with that. It was very obvious towards, I believe, the second or third quarter. He started to show that. The 2 weeks off is going to be very helpful. I'm pretty sure. But man, that Philly team is good, bro. So if I had to put money on it, I would probably choose Philly. I'll probably choose Philly. 30, 32, 27 or something like that, or 32, 30, something real close. Just because they are loaded, bro, and I said it last time, and they're healthy. They're loaded and they're healthy. Jalen is healthy now. He looked pretty good, even though he's coming back. That defense is looking good. And I know Patrick Mahomes is special, but man, I wish he was also 100% healthy. Then it'd be an easier conversation to have. I don't know what Patrick Mahomes I'm gonna get a superstar Patrick Mahomes. It's like freaking just doing like crazy stuff on 1.5 legs, or am I gonna get like, okay, it's a high ankle sprain, bro. I can't do nothing. I can't do nothing for you. That's what I don't know.
Yeah, I think Chris Jones is going to have a big game again. But I was trying to look for this stat. Go ahead, DT.
Absolutely, man. I think the biggest key is going to be, can that defensive front for the Chiefs stop that running game? And we know Jalen Hurts is going to get his, but you don't stop Miles Sanders and Boston Scott and them boys.
Boston Scott.
They're going to be eating. They get 5 yards a pop, and Jalen Hurts probably got 5 to 7.
And think about that offense. They're just not running up. It's RPO all day. So
Yeah.
you don't know which direction you're going. And what other teams have they played like that? You know what I'm saying? Like what other teams on their schedule? And I'm trying to think real quick that are RPO heavy, even in that conference where they played Derek Carr twice. He's a statue. Wilson was horrible, and they played Herbert, right? None of those guys are RPO type guys. So this is a different kind of offense they're going to be facing, man, and that's a lot. Like that's a lot. And like you said earlier, DT, in another podcast, they be giving you them 12, 13, 14 play, 8-minute drives.
Yeah.
I mean, can they, that's what I'm worried about. Or, that's going to be a matchup.
Philly is probably going to try to use our strategy and beating them to beat
Absolutely.
Kansas City.
Absolutely. I would too.
I was trying to look for this crazy stat about the Eagles sacks. Out of they 78 sacks this season, I can't find it.
78, golly.
Yeah, they had 78 sacks this year. No, 70 sacks this year. They had 70 sacks this year.
That's still crazy.
Out of those 70 sacks, out of 5 games, they had 47 sacks. Out of 5 games.
Oh.
3 games they had like 34, which was against us and 2 other teams. Which I had.
Yeah, we gave them like 10.
Yeah, it was like 2 other teams. They had like 6, 8.
Well, Carson Wentz gave them 10.
Yeah, like 6, 8, 9 sacks. So they was saying they was looking at that and say, and I think all those games against like sorry quarterbacks. So I thought that stat was kind of interesting.
It's cool.
Going into this game. Because having 70 sacks over 4-16, you like, man, they was killing it. But then when you kind of micro it and look at it, man, 47 came in 4 games. That's I mean, in 5 games, that's kind of crazy. So that's just something to look for to kind of think about when we talk about they D line and all the sacks they get when you really kind of breaking it down. But yeah, man, the Super Bowl is this Sunday. It's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be a good game.
I think so too.
I'm with you. I think it might be a little shootout in the third quarter, but I think the best way for them guys to win is to keep Mahomes off the field because, like 1.5 leg Mahomes is still better than Jalen Hurts. So they're gonna have to figure something out, man. They're gonna have to figure something out, man. But
it's gonna be like back in the day. I used to always like doubt Brady. I'm like, they gonna lose. I mean, he would always pull it out. It might be one of them type deals, man. He's just too good.
I mean, that's how the dudes are, man. I mean, even LeBron, like when Curry went on that run, they broke that record. I was like, yeah, Curry, the best player in the world. They go Bron coming back down from 3-1. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this no more. I'm not doing this no more.
Hey man, so this question, right? I've been thinking about this for the past week too. If Jalen somehow wins the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, even though it's one leg Patrick Mahomes, we said on this channel, one leg Patrick Mahomes is still a top 5 quarterback, right? So where would he rank in his own class, man, in 2020?
Who?
You got Joe Burrow, you got Justin Herbert, you got Tua. I mean, bro, he gotta be at least.
He a Super Bowl.
He's better than Tua. He's better than Tua.
Yeah, he took that leap this year, man.
He better than Tua. He's healthy. Tua can't say that. Sorry, it's not fair, but it is what it is. He can't stay on the field.
I mean, we haven't seen like a 5-game stretch for Tua, have we? Have we seen like a great 5-game stretch? Like I don't know. Like I don't know. You know what I mean? So,
Jalen Hurts is 16-1. That's crazy. I know we can't say QB records aren't QB records, but that's a lot.
He's giving what defense is given to. Like he's taking what they giving to him. Like you think he can't pass, he's gonna throw for 3 something. You think he ain't gonna be able to run? He gonna eat the run again. They're gonna have like almost 200 yards rushing. Like I'm gonna take whatever you giving me, and I'm just gonna beat you. And nothing you can do about it.
and I don't mean to sound like condescending. I think they just made that offense so easy for him to execute. It's not like he's doing a lot. He's like, man, I'm hitting open guy. We got a couple combo routes. I'm throwing deep. I don't care because my man A.J. Brown gonna get that ball. I mean, he just makes the right decisions at the right time, and they've been healthy. So I'm with you, DT, man. I'm probably going to have him I'm gonna have a Herbert discussion. I'm not gonna have a Joe Burrow discussion. I'm gonna have a Herbert discussion for you.
Mm.
Would you take Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert right now? That's a question. So, I mean, if they win this game, you can't dismiss that. He is a legit. I mean, so
Yeah, he's
I
legit.
don't know.
He's gonna get that 50 million 2 days after the Super Bowl if he win that job. He gonna catch it. If I was his agent, man, I would be on the fields if they win. Like, so we doing this or
Is
what?
that
Like,
is that a good thing? Like maybe that's a strategy. Maybe some of these quarterbacks like I want to be a second round pick, so I only have a 4-year contract. I'm gonna get cash in early.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you get a deal for the 5th round. You get 5 years almost free if you ball out. So it's kind of interesting how these contracts work. You know, between first round and everybody else.
Yeah, that's why those type of guys like him, that's fringe first rounders. Some teams like to try to jump back in the first. To be able
Makes
to get
sense.
that 5th year option on them. But that is a wrap. DT, what do you have for the people?
Man, drink your water, man.
CeeLo, what you got for the people, man?
Hey man, enjoy this game. It's gonna be it for a while. He's gonna be it for a while. So enjoy this game. It's gonna be.
We got the CFL, XFL, the Defenders.
Oh, that's right, XFL, the Defenders. But I mean, as far as this level of competition, I'm gonna take it all in. Take it all in.
That's like having celery as an advertiser. These XFL and CFL games gotta hold you over.
Greg Williams.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching, man. This is On in the Huddle podcast. I'm Deuce. That is DT. That is CeeLo, and Breeze is somewhere being. You know what? He probably on Radio Row. He a celebrity, so he probably ain't tell us. So he probably on Radio Row.
He out there in Arizona already.
Remember, do it because you love it, not because it loves you.
Welcome to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, where we discuss all things Washington Commanders, from the executive and front offices, coaches, players, and fan experience. Join DT, Breeze, CeeLo, and Deuce as they break down the pre- and post games. Do it because you love it and not because it loves you. Hail Commanders!